Welcome to Highly Questionable. We've got Katie Nolan. We've got Bomani Jones. Lest you think that me and Bomani are being casual, Bomani is hiding his hair. I'm hiding my hair. Katie, the only one brave enough to be out here with her hair. Let's get started.
Do you see MJ and Chuck squashing their beef?
Just a handful of times in all the time I've known Bomani do I get off of a radio show with a story I just heard and call him to tell him it. But John Sally told us on the radio, talking amid Kobe Bryant and Dave Chappelle, and Charles Oakley was in a corner about what Kobe would do against Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was there too. And John Sally deigned to have the opinion, hey, maybe Kobe would have given him some work. Charles Oakley came over, punches John Sally in the stomach. John Sally, in a suit, falls to his knees. That's how Michael Jordan wants his friends to be. He does not want Charles Barkley to be criticizing his moves as a member of the Charlotte Bobcats. And so when Charles does that, Charles ends up in this place where it makes me sad, guys, to watch Charles sort of longing for his friend. But we're done with the days when Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, and Tiger Woods ran together. Tiger Woods broke apart for reasons different than this. This seems small to keep apart two guys who should be friends.
Yeah, the thing about the idea of like squashing beef here is there's only one person that has beef, right? And Dan, you and I have both talked to Charles about this, and Charles makes an interesting point. He was just like, hey, man, my credibility doing my job is on the line, and I have to be honest when I talk about your team. Charles is one of those guys who gives you that kind of honesty, but it never, ever seems to be mean-spirited. It isn't like he was going after Jordan. But Mike's not going to let this slide. And it is kind of sad the way that Charles takes this, because without them having like a contemporary friendship, when you think about Mike and Chuck, what you think about is the things that Mike has said about him over the course of time. He's not going to win a championship because he didn't win hard enough, right? When Scottie Pippen played with the Rockets and didn't enjoy it playing with Charles Barkley, he was like, well, Mike used to say, all these things about him. When in reality, Charles didn't really do anything wrong. And if you think about this, right, all the stuff that we talk about players, how back in the day they were tougher than these young boys are, is anything more millennial than Michael Jordan deciding he's not going to kick it with Charles Barkley because Charles Barkley said what literally everyone else on earth has said about Michael Jordan's tenure running the basketball team in Charlotte.
Yeah, and not only did he say that they were bad, but the thing he said is that Michael surrounds himself with yes men, which is a criticism you would only be able to hear from your friends. And it's your one friend that's willing to say no to you and tell you that you're doing it wrong. He's kind of proving Chuck's point by still being this angry about it. And you're absolutely right, Bomani. I was thinking the same thing about how we say that kids these days are soft. I wonder if MJ came up in a time when Twitter was a thing, if he would have been distracted, if he would have had the time. I already feel like Michael Jordan has more hours in the day than most of us have because of all the things he seems to have time to do. But like, you got to think he'd be a guy who'd be checking his mentions, who'd be like barking back at media, which is not a good look and probably would have affected, I don't want to say his legacy, but the way that he played. He's being a baby, is what I'm saying.
His career would have ended playing in somebody's driveway because Michael Jordan would have been showing up to people's houses to play them in one-on-one all the time. You get on Twitter and say, I got something for Mike, like the Candy Man. That dude's going to be right there. Say it 3 times, see what happens, right? The best thing to ever happen is Mike Knight being on Twitter. And do you remember this, the one time that Mike ran the Jumpman account on Twitter, and I think it was Keegan Bradley, the golfer, who said something about beating Mike at golf, and Mike couldn't even let that slide and responded, hey, man, I see what shoes you got on. You don't see me wearing no Eric Keegans, do you? Because Mike can't let anything slide.
But just so we're clear, it's not a gambling problem. It's a competition problem.
Oh, no, it's not a gambling problem because he got the money to pay the debts. I'm actually impressed that Mike is actually paying all of these people back. Like Mike wrote that dude a $57,000 check. I'm amazed that he actually did that. Say it again. Mike don't think he got a competition problem. Mike don't think he got a gambling problem. He thinks he had a losing problem. All of his problems in those circumstances would have been corrected if he had just won.